Hi, this is a demo of the document approval app I have built with AppScript. AppScript is a cloud scripting environment provided by Google to integrate the Google apps in a very simple way. Therefore, this app will be able to use Google Drive, Google Documents, Gmail, and any other component of Google Apps required to take care of the approval workflow from start to finish. So let's get started. Imagine we have a company with two users. One would be called Blue with this inbox, and the other one would be called Green with this inbox. Blue will have some documents that he wants to share with Green, and he wants Green to approve those documents, and he wants a trace that shows and that handles the actual approval. This is where our app comes into action. So let's say the documents have already been written through Google Documents or Google Spreadsheets, or maybe it's a presentation or any document that can live in your Drive. When we have these documents, we will start to use our app. So this app here just lives with this link, and when you follow the link you get to a report panel out of which you can click New Workflow, and this is the start of our approval workflow. In our workflow we have to define at least two things. First, a list of documents. So this is where we add documents. We click on this button and pick documents that live directly in our Drive. We can, for example, add a document, a spreadsheet, and a drawing, and we select them. Once this is done, they appear in the list here, and if maybe we didn't want to add the drawing, we can remove it very easily as well. Then we also have to add approvers. So we wanted to say Green will be the approver for this workflow. So we choose Green, and Green gets added as an approver. Now maybe we want other approvers. So let's try dummy approvers, a list of them, and then if we add them, they are automatically added. It also works cross-domain, so if I want to add a dummy user living in example.com, this works as well. However, when we will want to have his approval, as he does not exist, we'll have a problem. So let's remove all those dummy examples, and then when we have documents and approvers, we're set and we can initiate the workflow. By hitting on this button here, this kicks off the workflow. This means the documents will first be shared with the right people. They will have edit rights to these documents. So Mr. Green will now be able to open the documents, which is very important if he needs to approve them. And he will also receive an email saying that he has to approve them. So he has to read them, he has to click on some buttons, and we'll see how this works. In the meantime, on this panel we have other options as well. We have a time limit here that we can set. So if this workflow has to be approved before next month, let's say in December, we can put a date here, and this will be our time limit. We can set or unset the time limit at will, and when the date arrives, if the workflow hasn't been approved, then it gets rejected automatically. And then we can send the report email. So this button here will send an email with everything that has happened in the workflow. This is what we also have as a recap down on these lines here. So starting from the end, we started off by creating the workflow. Blue, that's our user, has created the workflow. Then he has added some documents here. He has also removed the document. He has added an approver, then other approvers, then removed approvers, then initiated the workflow, and finally we played around time limits. So all these logs are kept inside a database, and were sent by email when I hit this button here, send report email. So let's have a look at these emails now. First on Blue side, so Blue is the one who has sent the approval request, who has initiated the workflow, and when he hit initiate workflow, he got this email. This email says your request has been sent, and we can have a link back to the approval edit panel. If we need to add an approver or a document, we can do this here through this link. Now the other email is the report. We have here all the details with all the IDs of the documents, the names of the people, and all the time limit and other stuff we did on this workflow. Now what's important is what happens on the approver's side. So Mr. Green, maybe the manager of Mr. Blue, will have to approve these documents, and he has to know about it. So this email has been automatically sent to him, and he gets directly into the email some links to the documents. So we can see that now he has access to the document from Blue. He also has access to the spreadsheet, and he has a link where he can approve those. So this is the approver panel, where we have again the link. The link here is the same thing as in the email, but of course what's better here is that if we add a new document into the workflow in, let's say, tomorrow, the first email that has been sent will not change, but this here will be updated if new documents are added. Then we have a place where we can add a comment. So if Mr. Green is happy with everything in these documents, he can say it and write down this is good, we can approve it. And if he wants to approve it, he just has to hit the Approve Now button. As he was the only approver, this means the whole workflow will have been approved directly. And the emails will be sent back to the owner of the workflow, and he will know that the documents have been approved. But there are other options. Obviously, there is a reject button, so if the documents are not good, he can reject them. And there is also a hold button. So this button simply notifies the initial user, the guy who has created the workflow, that Green has taken a look at the documents, or at least he wants to do it. But for the moment he hasn't got time, or maybe he has to look for some other details, so he puts a hold on the workflow. And the last thing he can do is add other approvers. So this will send new emails all over the place for other people to be approvers of this workflow. It will also send emails to the owner of the files so that he can add new approvers to the documents if needed. Then if we go back to Mr. Blue, we can see this email where it says these documents have been reviewed and approved by these people. So this is Mr. Green.